What is up, guys? Welcome back. It is Wednesday night. Nathan, are you excited?
I'm so excited. This is going to be awesome.
So good. We're back in the 90s, as you can tell by Nathan's awesome shirt here.
I think the last time I wore this was the 90s.
That looks like it. Before we get into tonight's lesson, we're going to play a game.
I love playing games.
Sweet. Now, this game is called Phantom, but there's a slight problem. The audio is going to sound a little wonky because we just had a technical glitch that happened, but that's okay.
So sorry.
The game's still here. You guys can still participate at home. It's going to be awesome. Let's play. All right, this game is called Phantom. You have to be the fastest or you disappear.
Whoa, like I disappear?
I think so. I think that's how it's going to be. No, I don't think anyone's actually disappearing. Here's what will happen. We're going to do it a little bit differently, but the Phantom is loose, and the Phantom is taking the shape of spooky season objects and characters. So we're like 2 weeks away from Halloween, so you know, if we were to play a fun little game. You're not going to find a partner to face off. You guys are going to all face off as a group. Nathan and I are facing off against each other like we did on that Atomic Images game from a couple weeks ago.
I love it. So we just, the first one, we just yell it
You
out.
shout it out when you think you know what shape it's supposed to be. A bat.
Oh, a witch. A scarecrow.
Oh, it's totally a scarecrow.
Do we get to shout multiple, or do we
yeah.
only get like one and then it's out?
I feel like we should only get one, and then we're done.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was good.
Alright, so we get one and then that's all you get.
I thought those arms were wings.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then the tail ended up being way too long. All right, here's your next
I'm
one.
ready for it.
Zombie. Oh man. Wow, that was a tough one.
That was really tough.
You just beat me on that one, I think.
Sweet.
Yeah, good job.
You know, I do what I can.
That's how you roll.
That was barely ahead though, so it's okay.
All right, here we go.
I like the little Phantom guy.
Yeah, it's super cool. Okay.
It's a witch on a broom.
It is a witch on a broom.
Ha ha!
Wow, you got that fast. My coffee has not set in yet.
Once the game kind of clicks, I'm ready for it.
It's not processing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
All
It
right.
takes me a round or two, but.
Cool. It looks like
It's like a goblin.
it's
Oh, no, it's a
werewolf.
Oh,
man.
Hopefully you guys got that one.
I thought that foot was a shovel.
That's fair.
Yeah, is a Gravedigger spooky though? It could be.
It can be.
Alright, let's see what's next. This music slaps.
It really slaps. I was okay. That's crap. What is it? I just want to yell out random things. Oh, it's a black cat.
Oh man.
Black cat.
What's funny is that's
what I
actually
said.
white. It's white.
I know. But it's
but the
Halloween.
black is what makes it spooky.
Yeah, a brown cat's not scary. Well,
Right.
all cats are kind of evil.
Well, that's true. Here's our next one.
I just want to shout out random stuff that
Right.
I know is wrong, but it's coalescing. It's like a
Looks like
clown or something.
it's
a mummy. I didn't get that one. I said clown.
Man,
Did you get it before technically though?
I don't know.
Thing?
I'm gonna give myself a point.
You get the point.
That might be my first point, so I'll take it. I'm a winner.
Oh, this is a bat.
I was gonna say it, but I was like, no, last time I shot it that out early, I was wrong.
You said bat before and you were wrong, but this time you would have been right.
I was gun shy on it. I was bat shy. Man. These animations are pretty cool.
I like it.
Yeah. A ghost.
A genie. I think you're right, Matt. You got it.
I got one early.
You can see that how I would think genie.
Yeah, totally.
They're not scary though.
Well,
You'd already said ghost.
when Jafar turned into a genie, he was pretty scary.
No, itty bitty living space.
That's true. It kind of looks like a bathtub.
I was gonna say bathtub.
Witch's brew.
Yeah, you're right.
Cauldron.
That's
That's what it's called.
Hey, look, human thing.
A
A
bathtub.
witch's brew thing. Well, or a bathtub. Oh, it looked like a shower head.
It did. I was with the bath on that one. Alright, I think we just have a couple more here. Ooh, that's spooky. Spider.
You got it. Dang. All right, if you're keeping track of points. I don't know.
I don't know. I think I'm up to 4 now.
All right.
So that's pretty good. I got the one that was really close, and then I've gotten 3 solid ones in a row.
I like this music.
Yeah.
Oh.
Pumpkin jack-o'-lantern.
Yep, jack-o'-lantern. Turn it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Making a comeback.
That's 5 now. I might be beating you.
You might be beating
Yeah.
that now. I started off strong, and then I got 2
I feel like a
compliments.
pumpkin by itself is not spooky.
That needs to be
It needs to be
jack-o'-lantern, so
jack-o'-lantern.
you lose. 'Cause you
But I said both.
jack-o'-lantern.
I said pumpkin
But you get one
or
guess.
jack-o'-lantern.
Alright.
I'm giving it to me.
I'll allow it.
You've been beating me like every week in these games. Jack-o'-lantern?
Jack-o'-lantern? Yeah.
No,
No candy apple. Oh.
Apple, wow.
Caramel apple.
Oh. Man. What's spooky about a caramel apple?
You eat
Or
it at
caramel
Halloween.
apple? I
They're
never
like
get
a-
around. Go to Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory.
I know, we went there
They're so
recently. They're
good.
so good. Shout out to Rocky Mountain Chocolate.
Oh man.
Man, that game was fun. I thought I was doing so awesome, and then look at Matt, crazy comeback, victory dance, whatever.
good.
That was a lot of fun. But hey, take a minute, go to the comments on the YouTube video. You've got a second before we start the lesson, and let us know who won in each of your groups. So if every group goes on and comments on this video with who the winner is, just one person from your group can do that.
Sweet.
That would be great. Then we can all kind of see and congratulate each other. We'll be right back.
All right, guys, welcome back to Rad. We are so glad you're joining us. This is week 2 of our series where we're flashing back to the 90s. Now,
Love it.
it's a study through James. James
Okay.
was not around in the 90s.
Well, maybe in the 90s. Like
Like
the year 90.
The aught 90s, yeah.
yeah.
The zero, yeah. But we were around in the 90s.
These
The
90s.
the 1990s,
Yes.
yeah. So we taught you guys last week a little bit of the slang we had.
Yep.
This week we're gonna show you some of the fashion choices from the 90s, much like
Oh,
this shirt
boy.
again. And maybe just briefly, Nathan will share if like we're into that
Okay.
particular fashion. So a common thing that blew up or glowed
Oh.
up in the 90s was neon.
Yes, it did. I love
So neon, this is Big Willie Smith right here from Fresh Prince of
Willie
Bel-Air. He's in the news lately for not the
hitting
greatest
people.
things. Yeah, but this show was awesome.
Oh, man. He was
And
so
yeah,
cool.
I definitely wore neon as a kid in the 90s.
I don't think I wore any neon. I was never fashionable though.
That
so,
explains it.
Yeah.
But you are now,
I'm-
man. Look at this.
This is pretty neon.
So good. I would wear that shirt. All right, another one we had in the 90s was animal print. Really took off. I
Yep.
was never into that. Maybe it's a male versus female type of thing. I don't know.
I think a man wearing animal print's a little weird, but yeah,
Maybe we can bring it back.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Plaid. I love plaid.
Yep.
Which is why flannel is one of my
I
favorite
was gonna
colors.
say, so flannel's great for that. Yeah.
Is flannel a color? I'm going with it. Flannel's the color. It's one of my favorites.
Flannel can be your favorite color, but I never wore like a full like plaid outfit.
No, like I was not like these clueless people. They're from
That's
the show
the
Clueless.
movie is called
Yeah,
Clueless.
yeah. Sorry. Oh, the
Okay, now
hammer pants.
This is it. Yes,
Oh,
hammer
Hammer
pants.
pants are so good.
I don't. All right, I'm gonna tell you.
I have one pair.
I don't think I ever had
Yeah.
a pair, but I loved them. I wish I
Yeah.
could have had them. I'd still wear those if I could. Those are
They're also,
sweet.
I think, called parachute pants, right?
That sounds
We
about
just
right.
associated them with MC,
MC
Hammer. Reverend
Oh,
MC
man.
Hammer.
He is
by
a
the way.
reverend. Yep. I love it.
Bucket hats, super trendy in the 90s. I never
Really?
got into that.
I never did either.
This is LL Cool J. He's wearing a bucket hat that looks a little fuzzy. So
It does look fuzzy. I mean, I'd
Yeah.
wear that now.
I don't know if I would.
That'd
Would
be
you?
kind of cool.
It's
All
weird.
right.
Another fun one was denim. Denim really took off in the
Oh, my
90s.
goodness.
Not just like I'm wearing my blue jeans or my jean jacket, but like I'm wearing all denim, as you
All
can see from Britney
denim.
Spears and Justin Timberlake.
I'm glad he got cooler.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you guys wear, is denim coming back?
I mean, I wear jeans.
Right. But like jean jackets, I feel like I'm seeing a little bit more
Okay.
again.
Maybe.
Yeah. How about the tinted glasses?
I thought you were just saying being a twin.
No, it's not necessarily. Yeah, twins were really trendy. No, the tinted glasses where like you're not necessarily wearing them for the sunshade. You're wearing
Right,
them for
to
the
look cool.
fashion look. That's
I mean,
why
it-
one's pink, one's kind of a blue.
It makes me think of the Matrix.
It does kind of
Right?
feel very Matrix-esque. Yeah. Oh, these are called jelly shoes. That's a really terrible picture. But jelly shoes came in the 90s. They're kind of like weird and almost like squishy, but solid. I know
That
that's a
sounds
weird way to
awful.
put it. I never
never-
wore them. I
never
never
knew
actually
about
knew
these.
anybody who had them.
Nope.
I knew of them.
I don't even think I knew of them.
I think they were like too many levels up from where
Okay.
my culture existed. Did you do these full like jumpsuits?
Yes, like the windbreaker.
Yeah, I actually think I have
That's
one
pretty
just
cool.
like the girl holding the weights. Same colors and everything. I might even have a picture of me with that jacket on.
I didn't know that was
Man.
a girl.
Yeah.
Okay. Awkward. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's the colors of the 90s were something else, weren't they?
Everything had so much more color. It was beautiful.
Fanny packs.
Fanny packs are back,
And they're making a comeback.
but you don't wear them that way.
You don't wear them
anymore.
that way. Kind of cooler
Yeah.
to put it off to the side a little bit.
Or you wear it like across.
or across your
Yeah.
chest. Yep.
That's kind of
Um,
cool.
Do you notice this dude's cell phone?
Yeah, it's awesome. I
Yeah.
remember phones like that too.
So good. Oh, fanny packs. How about overalls?
Overalls.
I wore
wow.
overalls and I would do the one overall
Will
side
Smith again.
clipped and
See,
the one not
That looks
clipped.
like I think of like a farmer when I see that.
Yeah, well, farmers were cool apparently, and so we brought it into the hood where I grew up.
There's something I'm waiting to see on here. I don't know if we're gonna see it, but I'm
Man,
excited to find out.
Let me know. This was actually a really funny sketch that Jimmy Fallon and Will Smith did. They did like dancing through the decades,
Okay.
and it was awesome. But
That is kinda
yeah, this
fun.
picture was perfect for the overalls. Slap bracelets.
Those
Those
are
are
so fun.
I feel like a thing again. a
Those are
little bit.
coming back,
I
but
see them
I
every
feel
now
like
and then.
they're not as violent as they used to be. Like when you hit it before, it really slapped with good force.
Well,
Now it's
so
kinda-
they used to be, and I know some still are, the cheaper ones. They're made from like old broken tape measures.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And so actually on a lot of the older ones, if you like peel off the little covering, you're gonna see a tape measure under
I
there.
love it.
So you have a ruler with you on your wrist everywhere you go.
That's so cool.
Bandana is super trendy in
My
the
goodness.
90s. I'm not seeing them as much now, unless like it's for a reason. They're not just wearing them for fashion. I feel like they're wearing them to actually keep the sweat away.
Okay.
Or I don't know, Gwen Stefani, she's the one with it like tied up all like cutesy and a little bow on top of her head. I feel
cutesy.
like I see that a little bit still.
okay.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, and then visors.
Visors.
This is the last
Wow.
one
Oh,
on
so
our
I
list,
didn't
Nathan.
see the one that I thought I
Yeah,
would
so
see.
what's the one that you thought you might see?
Jinko jeans?
Oh man. All
Right?
That's fair. Yeah.
That was a huge. If you don't know about those, the super wide, just awful looking jeans that people would wear.
Man. Yeah, we have some favorites as it relates to the 90s. Today we're going to actually be talking about favorites. But
Okay.
we're going to be talking about the difference between having favorites and playing favorites.
I'm intrigued.
Because there is a difference. And the difference is actually pretty radical. And what God has to say about it is a pretty radical thing. And so last week we mentioned that there were a lot of people who thought Jesus was too radical. And we confirmed that in the 90s, rad meant cool. So that's like kind of part of what we're using. But its real meaning is what we're focusing on more. And it has more to do with things like being different and revolutionary and countercultural.
Okay.
So the things Jesus said about loving God and loving other people,
Right.
putting others ahead of yourself was radical. And what he teaches us about favoritism is pretty radical too. Now, before we get into it, because we're going to be in James, right? James chapter 2. So if you have your Bibles, you can start to get there. Last
Okay.
week we were in chapter 1. This week we're in chapter 2. We're going to define what it means to have favorite people. because you can't be best friends with everyone.
Right.
So I want to make sure we know it's okay to have some people who are like your favorites, who are your
Okay.
best friends. They're in your inner circle, but it's where playing favorites or the idea of favoritism is where we have the problem. So let me define favoritism for you because this is the problem. And then we'll open up James 2 and we'll read from that.
I'm going to grab James 2.
Sweet. So favoritism, it's when you give someone special treatment unfairly at the expense of someone else, right? It excludes people. It's unfair. It hurts others. Okay, so that's what we're talking about when we say favoritism. So in this series on Rad, we're looking to the Bible for practical advice about how we can change the world with God's radical love, right? And so that leads us to the book of James. James was Jesus' brother. I wonder, actually, Nathan, as you're getting that, I wonder if James ever felt like Jesus was the favorite child.
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Right?
I would imagine probably.
Probably a few times, like, oh, he can do no wrong. Like literally, he can do no
Like,
wrong, right?
literally,
Because
yeah.
he doesn't sin.
That's-
But yeah,
that's
James is known for like his straightforward instructions for how we can follow Jesus and what that looks like. And a lot of these teachings, they seem really simple, but man, they have the power to create like this radical change for us. So let's see what James has to say maybe about favoritism. James chapter 2, verses 1 through 10. Nathan's going to read it. We'll follow along with him.
And I'm going to be in the NLT if you want to make sure you're on the same version or not. Read it in your own different translation if you'd like as well. But James says, "My dear brothers and sisters, how can you claim to have faith in our glorious Lord Jesus Christ if you favor some people over others? For example, suppose somebody comes into your meeting dressed in fancy clothes and expensive jewelry, and another comes in who's poor and dressed in dirty clothes. If you give special attention and a good seat to the rich person, but you say to the poor one, you can stand over there, or else sit on the floor, well, doesn't this discrimination show that your judgments are guided by evil motives? Listen to me, dear brothers and sisters. Hasn't God chosen the poor in this world to be rich in faith? Aren't they the ones who will inherit the kingdom he promised to those who love him? But you dishonor the poor. Isn't it the rich who oppress you and drag you into court? Aren't they the ones who slander Jesus Christ, whose noble name you bear? Yes, indeed, it is good when you obey the royal law as found in the scriptures. Love your neighbor as yourself. But if you favor some people over others, you are committing a sin and you are guilty of breaking the law. For the person who keeps all of the laws except one is as guilty as the person who has broken all of God's law."
Man, that's good. So is James saying that we can't have best friends or like our favorite group of people that we really enjoy hanging out with?
I don't think that at all, no. I think
Right.
he's not saying you can't have people that you like.
Right.
Right.
He's kind of like showing us the difference between having favorites and then that playing favorites.
Playing
right?
favorites,
That
right.
favoritism. So James he starts off talking a lot about like this idea of rich people versus poor people.
Right.
I don't know, maybe like people's wealth is something you guys think about often and you compare yourself or your family situation to others. But maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe we're in a different situation. And so I know sometimes for me because when we read the Bible, we want to read it in the context of the culture that they're writing to.
Right.
And we understand it from that view.
Right.
And then I can take it and say, okay, what is it saying to me? And so I know
Right.
sometimes for me, it helps to like think through the situation differently.
Okay.
And so rather than rich and poor, I might look at it and think of popular and unpopular,
Okay.
right? Or cool
Yep.
and not cool type of thing. Maybe like Christians and non-Christians, or my friends and everybody else, or people who are like me and people who are different from me, like those types of things. James is not down with showing that favoritism where now I'm doing this at the exclusion of another group of people, right?
So like if at youth group, especially like let's say Wednesday Night Live, somebody comes who doesn't look like they're like a super cool person, or if they come in and they aren't a Christian or they believe some pretty different things than we believe, James is saying we should shun them and kick them out. No.
James is not saying that. No.
He's not saying that. And so, not that we've necessarily ever done that, but man, that should really like think about it when I know, we're going to talk about how we apply this, but think about that like when you're at school or when you're at church, wherever you are, and somebody comes up to you, how do you treat that person when they don't believe what you believe, or when they are part of that uncool group, or somebody that you might just not like?
Yeah. So like James is telling us essentially that God is not happy when we're choosing our favorites based upon what they have.
Right.
right? Whether that's money or popularity or power. He's not happy when we're ignoring people based on those things, right? If they don't have it, maybe. And he's definitely not happy when we mistreat or dishonor or shame or exclude or like fail to love someone because we see them as less important than someone else.
Right.
Right? That's the key here. It's okay to have friends and have your best friends,
Yeah.
but it's not okay to mistreat or harm or ignore
Right. You
others
don't
who aren't
exclude
like in
others.
that circle or exclude
Right.
them. Look at verse 5 again of James chapter 2, and it says, "Listen, my beloved brothers, has not God chosen those who are poor in the world to be rich in faith and heirs of the kingdom, which he has promised to those who love him?" Does that mean that God's playing favorites here?
Interesting. That's a good question. No, I don't think so.
Okay. Why not? It's a good question, right? Like,
Man.
you look at this. Listen, my beloved
That's-
brothers, has not God chosen those who are poor in the world to be rich in the faith and heirs of the kingdom?
Right. So he has chosen people, but it's not I'd say it's more about like the heart of like the people who are poor. You know, Jesus said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit." So
Right.
he's not talking about like financially, but he's talking about the people who don't have often are going to understand their need for God
Yeah.
much more than a person who has everything. And so it makes sense
Yeah.
that God would choose the people who are going to best respond to him.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. So the way God is like choosing or maybe showing favorites is radically different than the way you and I do it.
Right.
We often do it based upon like what you have. What can you do for me as a friend?
right.
Because then I'll invite you in. And God kind of flips the cultural perspective upside down. Is like, look, it's the poor, those who recognize that they have a need for me
Right.
rather than me having a need for you.
That's
Right. So, like,
That's cool.
oftentimes rich people say God needs me to provide for his kingdom here on
Right.
earth. Right. And I know, again, we're not going to vocalize that out loud, but
Right, but
sometimes our heart attitudes might
the way
speak
we
to that.
live.
And God kind of flips that upside down. Maybe to help us understand it, let's go to the Proverbs.
'Kay.
Great book of wisdom. It's a collection of these short sayings, wise sayings about how followers of God should live. So Proverbs chapter 22. Did you
'Kay.
pull that up already?
I'm ready for it.
All right. We're going to just read a couple different verses here. 1 and 2, 8 and 9, 22 and 23. You got it?
All right. Yep.
Okay.
1 and 2 says, "Choose a good reputation over great riches. Being held in high esteem is better than silver or gold. The rich and poor have this in common. The Lord made them both." And at 8 and 9 says, "Those who plant injustice will harvest disaster, and their reign of terror will come to an end." That's fun. "Blessed are those who are generous, because they feed the poor." And then 22, "Don't rob the poor just because you can, or exploit the needy in court. For the Lord is their defender. He will ruin anyone who ruins them."
Nice. So if God is the creator of everyone, rich and poor, popular and unpopular, cool and uncool, powerful and not so powerful, if God created all of them, to me it's safe to say that he's not playing favorites.
Right.
Right? As God's creation, we're all equally loved no matter what.
Right.
Like our socioeconomic status doesn't matter. Our grades don't matter for his love, right? But God notices, I think, when certain people are more in need than others, right? We might all be loved equally by God, but God knows we're not necessarily all given equal treatment by others or equal opportunities in this world, and God sees that.
Right. People who are rich, at least historically, have been able, and still I'd say probably to some extent, are able to actually act outside the bounds of the law
Right.
a lot more than people who have no money. And so the poor and generally marginalized person might be where God's heart is, as opposed to the person who is exploiting you because they have this temporary wealth.
Yeah. And I think it's just a good reminder that we need to care for people who aren't like us and welcome them in and love them. People who maybe look different, act different, come from a different background. And so let's ask the question again.
Okay?
Nathan, does God play favorites?
No,
No. But we tend to.
but we do
Right.
at times.
And so I think God is just trying to teach us how we can be more just and more fair the way that he is. And so we look at Proverbs, we look at James, and there's some similar advice. James says that playing favorites broke God's law, But this proverb helps us understand more what that means, right? It helps us see that showing favoritism is actually injustice. And injustice tends to have some dangerous consequences.
Yeah.
Right? If we play favorites by excluding people or harming others, then God will stand against us and defend the weak in that moment. That's his heart, right?
Yep.
And so you and I, we need to, instead of playing favorites, we need to recognize that everybody is made by God.
Right.
And we treat them that way.
Yep.
Right? Be generous with everyone, especially those who need it, and defend those who can't defend themselves.
Right. And how different is that going to look in our world? In our world that says, if you've ever done anything, you're canceled or you're gone or we're going to hold it against you, or you come from a different belief system. Like, how much have you seen people say, oh, you have a different belief about this? Well, then I don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah.
Like, how different in our world can we look if we take this advice?
Right. It would be a radical change in our world if we all truly did this. So here's what I think James is saying for us, kind of like our big idea for the day as we then head into our small groups. Radical people don't play favorites. Again, it's okay to have them, but you don't play favorites. We got to avoid that favoritism.
So you can spend some time kind of going even further in depth into what that means, what that looks like, how you see that play out in your lives. But I like that.
Yeah. If you want to see more good and less hate in the world, we need to learn how to not play favorites.
Don't play favorites.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us this week. Again, if you haven't done so already, we have a Bible plan that we're all reading through as a group together. So you can still join that. It's not too late. You can always catch up where it is. If you go into the description of this video, the link to that Bible plan will be there, or talk to somebody else in your group. Chances are one of them has already started it, but we definitely encourage you to join that, read with us, comment on that. There's already been some really great discussion so far. It's been really cool to see. And then, as always, if you haven't done so already, please take a minute, just like this video, just hit the little like button. Or is it, what do they say? Smash that like button.
Smash that like button.
Just take a minute, hit like, and make sure you subscribe to us so that you don't miss any of our other videos that we're putting out.
And next week is Wednesday Night Live, so we're not going to be doing the online version only. We're going to be only live in person at Discovery Fellowship Church from 6:30 to 8 p.m. next Wednesday, October 26th. So we'll see you there.
Not going to want to miss it.